So I was reading this article from National Geographic about race and genetics and how race is really, it's completely unscientific. It's categorization we came up with based on outward appearances. And when we studied the genes and DNA of all the groups of people around the world, we learned that we are so incredibly similar that these skin tone differences really, they're nothing. As a matter of fact, the whole continent of Africa, where we stupidly consider all the people there to be black and therefore homogeneous, that continent has the most genetic diversity by far than any other place. Now, that's not the new thing that I learned. Looking through the article, I actually have a little bit of a bone to pick with it, I guess. The article places heavy stock in the hypothesis that skin tone is shaped predominantly by latitude, how far away you are from the equator. Now, this makes good sense, and it definitely is one of the factors. But I think it is likely not as strong of a factor as maybe we're inclined to think. And this is not really my opinion. This is backed up by, real science and real data. And I got these ideas from other authors that I have read. So it's not just my own hypothesis. So I went back in this Jared Diamond book that I read to relearn something from one of the chapters in there. So first, let's just talk about the skin color and latitude hypothesis, because as I said, it does make good sense, and it certainly is one of the factors. So dark skin serves sort of as a kind of UV block, so it protects you from the potential harmful effects of UV radiation on your DNA, which can cause melanoma. It's no wonder that Australia and New Zealand by far have the highest rates of skin cancer per capita, because the original population has been almost completely replaced by people of European descent with very fair skin. So if we take a look at the line of 40 degrees north latitude, 40 degrees north latitude is going to intersect countries like Japan, North Korea, China, Turkey, Italy, Greece, Spain, Portugal, and then it cuts right through the middle portion of the United States. So I want to ignore the United States because the native population has also been mostly replaced. But if we think of these other areas, well, the skin tone there, we would say, white or yellow, very fair skins. However, below 40 degrees south latitude is the country of Tasmania. Now, it's a horrible tragedy, but there are no pure-blooded Aboriginal Tasmanians left, and there was an absolutely disgusting genocide and pogrom and all kinds of horrible things happened on Tasmania. If you want to be extremely angry, read up on the history of that, but I am warning you. However, the Aboriginal Tasmanians, despite being as far away from the equator as countries like Japan and Spain and Portugal, they had very black skins. So what Jared Diamond in The Third Chimpanzee supposes is that, yes, climate is a factor in determining skin tone, but what we call sexual selection is probably a very significant factor as well. Or in some regions, climate may be the most important factor. Sexual selection is not so important, but in other regions, it may be completely flip-flopped. So sexual selection is just merely the selection of traits because of preference. They don't necessarily have anything to do with survival. So it likely wasn't the case that dark skin tone was common in Tasmania to protect from UV radiation, because it's very far away from the equator, as far away as Japan is. Likely it was just a matter of preference between the people that live there. Here's another reason why this makes good sense. We know that huge portions of Northern Europe were completely uninhabitable until only about 15,000 years ago, because they were completely covered in glaciers. So the people that had been living in those European regions had only been able to colonize that area for a relatively short amount of time, and they had the light skin tone. So if that short amount of time was enough time for the light skin tone to appear, then what about in Tasmania? Well, people have been isolated in Tasmania for 40 to 50,000 years or more. So there was way more than enough time for some sort of adjustment to be made in the allele frequencies that would lead to light skin if if the only important factor was climate. But it really doesn't appear that it was. So that's what I relearned today. I needed a refresher on this one. So come back tomorrow to see what else I've learned, and thank you for watching.